and good evening. This your boy Vaughn B, and this is the UN podcast. Want to give some love to the folks out there who checking out. Oh, and happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. All right. Well, my compatriots, I think, are celebrating with their fathers. Unlike myself, mine passed away a while ago. But miss your pops. So we just talk about a few things, give a nice little thing, talk about some subjects. There's not really much going on in the world of entertainment. So I just saw some things I thought was interesting. So I thought I'd check them out. All right. So the first thing that I want to go on talk about is the Spaceballs announcement. Now, check out the trailer. So okay, here we go. Okay, share my screen. All right, here we go. Check this out. That is a lot of movies. Turn this down a little bit.
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie.
Awesome. I have fond memories of the first one. I'm hoping that this isn't like a old school Mel Brooks movie and not some kind of bastardized version of it, because Mel Brooks used to poke fun at everyone equally and without holding anything back. Lots of jokes, race jokes, like jokes about Jews, all kind of stuff. And if it is how closer to how the original is and how most Mel Brooks movies are, or at least were, then that would give, at least to me, an indication of maybe stuff is going back to being normal again. So there is an article on it, so I thought I'd check out the article as well. All right. All right. Spaceballs 2 brings back Brooks, Moranis, and Pullman. I saw a clip of someone walking up to Pullman at a restaurant, and they was asking him about it, and he looked very excited. So I can't, like I said, I'm just hoping, I'm hoping that we get an actual Mel Brooks movie. The problem is when you get a lot of these older, folks who did stuff that you like when you were younger, it's like they kind of lost the spark a little bit. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. So, all right. The Swartz is back. Nearly 4 decades, Spaceballs is officially getting a sequel. Amazon MGM Studios confirmed that Mel Brooks will reprise his role as Yogurt in the upcoming film Spaceballs 2, which will set to hit theaters in 2027. Brooks is the only original cast member returning. Bill Pullman is back as heroic Lone Star. Rick Moranis will dust off the iconic helmet once again to play the villainous Dark Helmet, his first major movie role in years, which is surprising because I thought that he retired. So I'm glad that they managed to get him back. He stepped away from acting in the late 90s to focus on raising his children. Make his return a major draw to long-term fans. Daphne Zanunga is set to be returning as Princess Vespa. Joining the original stars is Kiki Palmer, who will play a role by the name of Destiny. Palmer is writing off the success of One of Them Days, and I've never heard of that. It's a busy slate, including Amazon's The Pickup and Lionsgate's Good Fortune. Yeah, I haven't heard either one of those either. For that Bill Pullman's son, Lewis Pullman, will recently start in Marvel's Thunderbolts. Which one? Like, all right, hold on. Which one is? Let's look it up. Okay, who did he play? All right, he was in the Thunderbolts. Who did what? Okay, who did he play? Very bad times at El Royale. Who did he play? I cannot. I saw that movie. It's like I really can't remember that much of it. So maybe Sentry. So wow, that's why I don't recognize him. Because the Sentry, he was super laid back. Okay. Yeah, he was like, wow, that's why I don't recognize him. All right. We'll play a character named Starburst, the son of Queen Vespa and Lone Star. Okay, that should be funny. All right. Josh Gad leads Chris. Found by director Josh Greenbaum, Barb, and all right, never heard of that. Written by these three folks. Producing alongside Jed Brody, Mel Brooks. See, he's not. See, that's what I'm concerned about because he's not writing it. Like Josh Gad, like a lot of the stuff that he's been doing has been super woke. So it's like I not that excited. I'm excited, but I'm kind of not because it's like I don't know if they're gonna go there. I don't know if these people are capable of going to where to actually make this type of movie really work and people excited about it. It needs to be able to go certain points, and I'm not sure if these people are willing to do that. As a child who saw Spaceballs before I ever saw Star Wars and wonder why anyone would do a dramatic remake of Mel Brooks' classic, things that never happen for $5. It is therefore the greatest gift of my life to now help take the reins and work alongside Mel and this incredible group to do a sequel to a movie that first inspired George Lucas. Plot is still on the wraps. On a story, this film is frequently described as a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel part 2, but with reboot elements franchise expansion film. A teaser shared by Brooks also pokes fun at the modern state of Hollywood, taking digs at the MCU and DCU. Fans of the original will remember its relentless parody. It's kind of hard to parody most modern movies because there's such parodies of themselves. I'm not even sure how you can do that. Just like what the Onion and the Babylon Bee. Like you can't really tell what's satire and what is actual news footage nowadays. And it wasn't about that. Just grossed over 38 million, but quickly became a cult favorite. Yeah. Okay. Well, like, look, I hope for the best. I'm not too. I would much prefer if this was like an old script of Mel Brooks that were reworking. Hopefully that's the case and not something that these people are going to pull out of their butt. Because, like I said, Mel Brooks used to go there in a way that they just do not do in modern movies. So All we can do is hope for the best. But given the track record of every time they touch anything that you have nostalgic feelings for, it has been wrecked by modern writers trying to push the message. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was this Lionsgate guy, vice chairman. And let me pull up the article. All right, so Vice Chairman Michael Burns claims he can produce anime films in 3 hours with AI. No one in Hollywood seemingly has a stronger opinions about the future of artificial intelligence in animation production than senior citizens. Okay, that's a weird thing to say. A new New York Magazine article entitled "Everyone is Already Using AI and Hiding It" is worth the read. And if only for the wild claims made by Lionsgate chairman Michael Burns, 66, unlike the brash AI animation predictions made by other popular geriatric Hollywood player, Burns isn't even making a prediction. He just outright asserting that he can do things with AI that no one has yet proven possible. Yeah, because for the most part, what I've seen, and I've tinkered around with AI, and like I've tinkered around with AI a little bit, and you get like 6 seconds. You get 6 second clips. That's basically what it is. So if you see anything, it is someone piecing together 6 second clips into an actual kind of thing. And depending on how well you do your prompts, you're not gonna get you're gonna get some stuff that is similar to each other, but not the same. Like in a movie sense, you kind of need the same. But and this is like a lot of weird. It's we're still in the beginning parts of this. Now, in the future, this is going to change. But right now, we're in the beginning part, and it's a lot of weird stuff. Like you'll get something that look pretty good, and until you look really close, and then this is like weird, especially hands. Like AI cannot do hands very well. So like you'll get your hands, and then they'll just be doing weird like finger movements and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. What I'm saying is it's not as clear as a lot of people seem to like think. This is, but it's more corporate type stuff who kind of want to push something quicker than it's not really ready yet. Burns, whose company is Lionsgate, first inked first of its kind deal with AI company Runway. Excuse me. Last fall, told the magazine that a key benefit of AI is the ability to take any title from his studio's library, including action franchises such as John Wick, Twilight, and The Hunger Games, process the film through Runway AI software while adjusting its tone, format, and rating, and have an entirely new finished movie in about a few hours later. To quote Burns directly, now we can say, do it in anime, make it PG 13. 3 hours later, I have the movie. I can do that, and now I can resell it. Hmm. I have yet to see anybody. So I agree with the person. Like I have yet to see anyone do anything that even remotely sounds like that. It sounds like something that will be possible at one point, but right now I'm a little skeptical on that. Assuming Burns can actually do that, one has to wonder why isn't he doing it? Even if he regenerated a small portion of his studio's 20,000 plus live action title library into anime, it seems like he's uncovered an infinite money glitch for Lionsgate. The most likely reason that Burns isn't actually doing that, what he claims is he can do that is simply not simple 3 hour process to produce anime film. To even if it were, audience won't don't want existing live action content processed as anime style. Therein lies the crux of the artificial intelligence production. While it is quickly becoming a film production tool with numerous applications, it is still just that, a tool, which has been used in coordination with countless other tools and human talent to create anything watchable, much less meaningful. I'm well, let's see if the all right, take this. Wow. Okay, never mind. I was going to read the article, but yeah, I don't want to sign up for it. All right. Hmm. At some point, we like it's going to be that it's going to be you're going to sit back and say you want a Star Wars as a western with I don't know Tom Cruise as Han Solo, and at some point the computer will be able to do that. I don't think that it's now. I don't think that it's next week. I don't think that it's tomorrow. I think it's like maybe 5 to 10 years from now. Now, unless he has something that no one has ever seen, maybe that's true. But the problem with that, and I was looking at some stuff on AI, a lot of people who are diving into this, I don't think they're coming at it from a non-creative point of view. Like just because you make something look like an anime, that don't necessarily mean that you're gonna get something that actual anime fans want to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like the anime that are quite popular are very Japanese. Like, yeah, it's cultural and all that other stuff. They have not they have not been able to really make an American anime beyond like, all right, the closest thing I've seen is The Last Airbender. And that was just the first one, like the first three books. And then once you get Legend of Korra, it started going off into like Western type stuff. So it didn't really click with the majority of the fan base. Now they got people who like that one, but it didn't click overall with the fan base. So other than that, I can't even recall any anime type Western anything. Now, I haven't seen everything, so maybe it has, but I don't think so. And I can't really get what this dude is talking about, because if you just rehash something and make it look like something else, it's still that. It's like the live action stuff from Disney. I I'm not really that interested in, because you're either going to make something that's completely different than the thing that I like, or you're going to make something that is as close to possible as the thing that I like. I'm like, well, I can just watch the thing that I like. You know. So, alrighty. Well, that's it for that. There's another thing that I saw about. There's a crossover between GI Joe and Transformers, which they alluded to at the end of one of the Transformers movies. They alluded to like a thing with GI Joe and like combining them with Transformers. So I wonder if this article that I saw, if they talk about find it. Here we go. All right, so this is on Bleeding Fool. Let's check this out. Should G.I. Joe and Transformers have their own film universe crossover? Like I said, they've already hinted at that at the last, was it Beast Wars? Yeah, I think it was Beast Wars at the end. It was a after credit scene where the kid from the movie was hired by, I guess, the CIA. I think that's what it was. And he was introduced to this new program that they were starting, and it was GI Joe and Transformers. So they kind of alluded to that. Comic book post on our comic book post an argument that GI Joe and Transformers don't need a crossover, not at least in the live action films. Like at the end of, and this is what I'm saying, at the end of the Transformers Rise of Beast, Noah Diaz, Anthony Ramos, was meeting Agent Burke, Michael Kelly, who revealed the supposedly job interview had a greater purpose. Turns out that Burke works for a secret agency that will now help take care of the Diaz family, and is very interested in what transpired with the Transformers down in Peru. As the scene wraps up, Burke hands Diaz a business card and reveals that he's also a member of G.I. Joe. With that reveal, two has Paramount franchises finally became one in their live action incarnations. Now they've also done this in the comics. I think I've heard good news about it. Like I haven't checked out any because I haven't read comic book in a long time. But most of them kind of were crap. Across 7 live action Transformers movies and shifting directors, one criticism has endured above all: they keep centering the human characters above the robots. Yes, people want to watch Transformers for the Transformers. Yeah, you know what? They keep saying that, but they actually did a Transformers cartoon, with the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron. I'm not sure how well that did, because I don't think it did as well as you would think. Well, people keep saying how they would rather have them focus on the robots. Like Bumblebee kind of did that, and especially at the beginning when we was on Cybertron. So people keep saying that kind of stuff. Like people say that they want stuff all the time. That don't necessarily mean they actually do. I think they're just being contrarian. Despite the Autobots and Decepticons technically being titular characters in this franchise, the focus has always been on folks like Noah Diaz, plucky high school students, Texan inventors, and human get center stage across the Transformers saga, while the robots play second fiddle in their derivative drama. That you can blame Steven Spielberg for, because he was the one who orchestrated that in the first Transformers with Michael Bay. For some reason, he seems to think that the fans of the thing need, or not the fans, but the fans will probably go watch it anyway. But normal folks need humans to be able to, for someone to, what's the word I'm looking for? To relate to. They won't be able to relate to the Transformers. No. The reason why the cartoons were in the cartoons, they didn't really focus on the humans at all. It was mostly about the Transformers, and so those same kids who watched the Transformers cartoons would easily be able to relate to Optimus Prime because they had the same kind of things. You know, they didn't have families per se, but they had friends, they had friendships, they had loyalty, they had all of these things that everyone kind of can comprehend. I'm not sure why Steven Spielberg thought that they needed to do, what they did. And given how much money these movies make, maybe he had a point. I don't think he did, but maybe he did. A big crossover with G.I. Joe would just exacerbate this problem by integrating more human characters than ever into this saga. Yeah. So the reason stems from supposedly having too many humans to spotlight at the really? Okay. Into the robots, well, it's easier to convey emotions and expressions on humans than it is on a figure like Optimus Prime, who in many incarnations to date had no mouth, needed its sound wave. But no, I've seen a lot of stuff where it was kind of limited, but you can actually get across feelings and all that without words. If you go watch Charlie Chaplin and anything that's any of the silent movies, they were really good at getting across through visuals what was going on and how he felt about it. He didn't have to say anything. So that's just good writing and good acting. All right. Something which I recall early tone models of Bumblebee didn't have either. And the Saturday morning cartoon TV show, they took liberties with this to actually give the robots animated counterpart one. Yeah, he gave him a mouth. Sure, Bumblebee wasn't the only one. In any case, if you're going to build a serious character drama centered around Rebel stars, then why should it be a surprise if humans take the focus? After all, doesn't the common fan want to see some human cast develop who can express only so much awe and excitement in the meeting of these living robots, even change to vehicles and animals? But humans are often meant to represent a special wish fulfillment on behalf of the audience. I don't agree with that. The fan base, it's they keep making these things because they have a huge fan base, and then they keep doing stuff to not appeal to the fan base, but try to appeal to some mythical normie audience. But again, like I said, all these movies make billions of dollars, so it could be wrong. All right. All things aside, I honestly think the writer should be saving such an argument for how DC Marvel have been doing things repeatedly and relentlessly for 40 years now. Ever since Secret Wars set company wide crossover is in motion. And by mid 2000s, it got to the point where it's really ruined their output. Yeah, because it went from being a every now and then like event that happened every few years to every 6 months you had some crossover thing where everybody was getting like it was cosmic level earth, like earth destroying levels events happening every 3 or 4 months that just completely changed the how everything in the comics were. So it became novel. So instead of being something special, it became novel. Like Secret Wars was their first Secret Wars was special because it was you got all these different comics. I mean, characters from these different stories who didn't really interact with each other like that, and put them in one book and a bunch of their villains in one book. I mean, it was special. But if you do it every 2 months, then it's not special. All right. Okay. Got to the point where it really ruined the output along with some of the worst writing and characterization. See, that's the biggest problem is the writing. Like you can overdo stuff, but if you overdo it and you are have bad writing, it doesn't help. All right. Recent there's been one world under doom, and that too comes long past the point where the audience might at least have the premise, find the premise exciting. If anything, such a tale did not need to be developed as a company-wide crossover and could always have been depicted in a standalone story, published in a paperback. Right. One World Under Doom. I get that they're trying to big up Doom right now because of the movies, and that's what Marvel is basically turning into a cheerleader for the MCU. But they've already done they've already done this type of story when Secret Wars 2, where Doom got the powers of the Beyonder and he recreated the planet, he recreated Battle World and he controlled everything. I'm like, I don't know how that could be different. But, all right, well, hmm, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna go at this. I think I'm gonna go and cover just the stuff that I kind of put in the thing, and there is another article or two that I'm gonna touch. So I'm not gonna talk. Like I said, there's not really much to talk about. It took me a while to figure out stuff. And one thing that goes along with this AI stuff is that apparently Disney and some other studios are suing Midjourny. I'm not sure why it took them so long because people use their stuff for all kind of stuff and put their characters in all kind of weird positions and all that. But that's been kind of the thing like forever. So like they go after like I guess they would go after fan arts stuff. But if you're not selling it, I'm not sure like what they can actually do about it. So let's see if I can find this. Ah, there it is. All right, so this is on Cartoon Brew. All right, so apparently Disney and Universal sue AI generator Midjourney, calling it a bottomless pit of plagiarism. Yes, giving all of these different versions of their what the why is there a black dude? Well, some of these look interesting. All right, it took longer than expected, but an inevitable finally has happened, which I am very shocked by this. The Walt Disney Company and NBC Universal sued AI image generator Midjourney today, alleging that the company has trained its large language model on unauthorized copyright works owned by the two companies. Yeah, no crap. Like just like the ones who make music, they keep trying to say that no, we haven't been feeding this thing. I'm like, bro, these things are generating things that seem awfully close to published work. Cause I like remember I was doing something. Well, I wanted a angry Mickey Mouse, right? Because I was doing a thumbnail. So if I typed in Mickey Mouse, it would tell me that it can't do that. But if I describe Mickey Mouse, then it would actually draw Mickey Mouse based off of my description of him. And it was the same thing I did. I was doing a bunch of clip art for like, I was trying to do a sports channel and I wanted to make a bunch of clip art for like the Lakers and all that stuff. I couldn't type in the Lakers, the Dodgers, or anything like that, but I can describe like Dodger colors. And if I put Dodger colors and I put that as a baseball player, they would actually draw me a baseball player dressed in Dodger uniform. So it's kind of a way around a lot of this stuff. Again, I'm not trying to sell none of this stuff. I was just one trying to figure out how to use these things, and two, see what I could actually do. So, and I've seen stuff like that where it's like it's drawing the thing. So, in order for this thing to draw the thing, it has to have something to reference it from. So that means that it actually has to have pictures of the thing that you're trying to do. So they skate around it. They seem to, I ain't gonna say whether or not it's true or not, but they seem to skate around it by not letting you specifically ask for whatever the thing that you're trying to do. But if you figure out how to ask for it, it will give you what you're looking for the most part. I would recommend you finding someone who can draw and have them just draw exactly what you want. That way you can draw like something that'll be close, but it'll get out of the copyright stuff. All right. All right. Unauthorized copyright works owned by the two companies is Hollywood's first major copyright infringement related legal action against the generative AI company. And it's notable that Disney and Universal, which are traditional competitors, have teamed up to pursue this legal action. In a complaint filed in U.S. District Court of Los Angeles, the companies claim that Midjourny sells an image generating service that functions as a virtual vending machine, generating in this unauthorized copies of Disney's and Universal's copyrighted works. And this is when it gets a little sketchy because you can make whatever the thing that you want, but are they concerned about people trying to sell it? Because if you're trying to sell like Buzz Lightyear on just your version of Buzz Lightyear, that's dumb. Because then you can get sued for that. But they can't possibly own like a space guy. So how close do you have to be? And this is where this gets interesting. It's like in terms of music, we've had different issues when it comes to music. We've had where was it the what's the thing? What's the name of that song? Robin Thicke with Pharrell and T.I. It was sued by the Marvin Gaye's estate. And the judge came back with this ridiculous thing that allowed them to take money from that song because the song sounded too, even though the song wasn't a direct copy of any of Marvin Gaye's songs, the vibe was too close or something weird like that. And which is stupid because Marvin Gaye didn't own that vibe. They had other artists who did similar types of music to that at the time. It wasn't Marvin Gaye, but it was close enough. It was like a vibe. So, and that's what the way that song was. It was a vibe. So I'm quite sure they was sitting in the studio one day. It was like, I would love to do a song that's in like a Marvin Gaye type groove, and that's what they created, a Marvin Gaye type groove. You don't get to own that. But for some reason, this judge decided to give them the money from the song. And what's crazy is they tried to sue Ed Sheeran a little bit later for a similar type of thing. And Ed Sheeran just basically sat in court and played them a bunch of songs using the same chord structure, but were different songs. But it was the same chord structure, and chords are just basically a bunch of notes together. So when you play one chord and then another chord, you'd be surprised at how many friggin' popular songs use the same chord structure, but they use different instruments. And sometimes they even use the same instrument, but like there's there's hundreds of different types of pianos, guitars, yada yada yada. So if you use the same chord structure, the song will sound, it could sound similar because it's the same chord structure, but it's how you play it and the tempo and all that stuff that changes what the song sounds like. But that's what I'm curious about. This is like, I don't like, unless someone's actually selling the stuff, is like, are you going after, I don't know if they're just trying to, like, I have no idea what the hell they're trying to get out of this. Because the AI thing is out of the box. That's just gone. So systematic, ongoing, willful, said that the company has not implemented any measures to stop users from recreating its copyrighted assets. Like his founders previously admitted that the interview that he wasn't selective about the materials he used to train this model, just big scraps of the internet. We weren't very picky. Like I said, a lot of these things won't let you specifically ask for a whatever. Like my example with Mickey Mouse. But if you describe Mickey Mouse in your prompt, it will give you Mickey Mouse. But and I'm not too familiar with Midjourney, so I don't know if Midjourney does that. But the one that I use, yeah, it did that. It's like, yeah, you just ask. It's just how you ask for it. All right. Holtz further said that they stole artwork from millions of artists without permission. There really isn't a way to get 100 million images and know where they're coming from. The companies described Midjourney as a quintessential copyright free rider in a bottomless pit of plagiarism. Animation plays a huge role in the lawsuit. Disney and Universal cite many examples of the animation IP being reproduced by Midjourney, including Disney and Pixar animated features, Shrek, Despicable Me, okay, backward does the visual. So yeah, so this is Disney's thing, and this is the Midjourney output. Midjourney, yeah, but are they selling it? Because hmm, Horacio Guterres, senior vice, I'm bad with names, chief legal and compliance officer for Disney, said in a statement, "Our world-class IP is built on decades of financial investment, creativity, innovation, investments, only made possible by incentives embodied in copyright law that gives creators an exclusive right to profit from their works. We're bullish on the promise of AI technology and optimistic about how it can be used responsibly as a tool to further human creativity. But piracy is piracy, and the fact that it's been done by AI company does not make it any less infringing." I mean, I don't know how you like. I'm not sure how you where we go back at from here, because if they're training their AI based off of stuff that they're pulling off the internet, they're just pulling up images. So I have no clue. So Disney and Universal sued demands Midjourney pay for damages, but a figure is not provided in its initial filing. The companies are also aiming to prevent Midjourney from releasing its upcoming video generator without appropriate copyright protection measures to prevent such infringement. Midjourney has not responded to the media about the lawsuit. Do we have any comments? I'm usually on the side of the underdog, but the AI doggy just isn't under enough for my liking. So good luck, Disney. Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Someone needs to explain why thousands of pieces of ordinary fan art that do exactly this aren't liable. That Midjourney is monetizing this, something that the fan arts typically doesn't do. And Midjourney is a commercial entity, not a single fan doing something for fun. But see, this is where it gets a little murky because they don't actually have, they got like the copyright laws for AI is kind of murky. It's because you're basically using a bunch of other people's stuff to generate the thing. You can't really, as far as what I understand, you can't really copyright it because you're not actually making anything original to be copyrighted. So I I don't know. AI uses extra copyrighted content, often charging a subscription fee, while fan art is created out of love, emotionally starvation. They are making 200 million a year, like Midjourny, though companies will send you cease and desist and a copyright claim. They do catch you selling fan art, so you shouldn't sell it. That's just stupid. All right, and generate fan art. Okay. All right. Okay, explains thousands of people. Okay, so I'll explain. So thousands of pieces of ordinary fan art that do exactly this are liable, and Disney can sue for copyright infringement for fan art. Just like Midjourney, that's the too long didn't read version. I'm not gonna read that. So yeah, we're at this weird spot where I don't know how where we go from here, because clearly the companies are interested in the AI stuff because it can generate things for them without them having to deal with humans. It's like, so you got a business dude who's looking at this from a completely business perspective. And I, a lot of them don't get, and this is basically what I was saying earlier about when I looked at a bunch of the AI like type stuff that was geared towards creative stuff, and mostly was like crap that non-creative push people were pushing on creative people. It's like it was the thing that I was going over. It was about AI and gaming. And most of the stuff that I saw was all about some corporate schmuck trying his best to push some little boondoggle on gamers. Who the person who's doing it really wasn't a gamer and didn't really understand gaming. And it seems to be something like this. What I'm concerned about is once they perfect these things where it actually looks like the thing and it doesn't do weird stuff with the hands and all that, your average person, your average normal person, just wants to be entertained, won't care how it you got it. They won't. They just want to be entertained. It'd be the same thing with music. Like, I think they can make AI like lo-fi study music right now that sounds pretty convincing, and it just generates that music. Because lo-fi, it is you can make it unique, but it is of all the types of musical genres, is kind of the easiest, I guess, to make in terms of what you're doing. And it's kind of hard to stand out because the whole point of lo-fi is for it to be kind of laid back and background music. So I saw this guy named El Dre, and his specialty is lo-fi, and he did a thing where he was listening to some AI generated lo-fi music. Whereas some of it he didn't like, some of it he actually did, and all of this stuff we're still at the beginning part. It's like, yeah, the technology's been around for a minute, but we're still at the beginning parts of all this. Kind of like the first cell phones, where the first cell phones battery sucked. It was like battery sucked, and it had a lot of problems. They had antennas like this. Well, it took a while, and it took like a couple of breakthroughs here and there to actually like completely transform what we consider a cell phone now, as opposed to how it was when he first started. And it's the same thing. Is I don't know if it's going to be when you can actually hold a conversation with the AI and then it generates the thing that you're asking for, because you get to describe it instead of writing it down in a prompt. Like your personal AI will understand how you see stuff, so it can tailor something to fit what you like. I'm against that kind of stuff because the whole point of music, of entertainment, is the shared experience. And once you get down to this thing being able to generate like a unique thing, the shared experience part is going to go away. And you're going to have you're going to get a younger generation who's not going to really experience the shared part. So it will be normal for them. And the rest of us will just get old and that will go away. The best part about games is to be able to talk to your friends about how they played a certain part. Once you get to the point where it's tailored towards what you like, you're not going to actually be able to do that because it won't be the same for other people. So I don't know. I think there's one more article that I want to touch on. Is what John Romita Jr. talk about the comic book industry, and I'm gonna call it a night after that. Share my. All right. Okay. John Romita Jr. blasts the modern comic industry, stick with entertainment and stop with the preaching. John Romita Jr. is one of the most respected creators in comics, co-creator of Kick-Ass with Mark Miller, and a longtime veteran who's worked on nearly every superhero. Which is crazy is I am old enough to remember his father. It is, I think it's kind of rare that you have father and son in the same industry, both of which become like legendary figures in that industry. That really doesn't happen a lot. So shout out to freaking John Romita Jr. and his pops, especially on Father's Day. He's done a new interview telling the comic creator stick with entertainment, stop with the preaching. Of a wildly successful launch of a new Kickstarter project with Mark Millar. Psycho Sam, John Romita Jr. is going around doing interviews to promote the project. Son of the great John Romita Sr., whose work on Amazing Spider-Man is legendary. He's been the staple in the comic book industry for decades with his distinctive style of dynamic action leading to some of the most memorable comics in the last 30 years. He went on the World Balloon podcast on Friday, June 13th, just recently, talk about Psycho Sam and a myriad of other topics. Eventually, the conversation shifted to politics. He spoke of New York and the conditions that it's been in lately, saying Willie Giano made the city safe for a while, and then the next mayor Bloomberg did a good job, and the guy after that did a lousy job, and the city is still struggling. That would be one De Blasio. There were days when you can walk Times Square with your family and your grandchildren is wonderful. Same thing with California. My wife is from San Diego. You can walk the beach. Can't do that in San Diego. You can't do that in New York City. Everything has changed. Yes, I went to downtown Los Angeles last month because I had to, because I had jury duty. And as I'm turning down the street to go find some place to park, a homeless dude walked into the middle of the street and flashed me. At that point, I have no clue what to do. Like, I'm in my car, I don't know what this guy's gonna do, and he's buck naked in front of me. Like, do I drive around? Like, but what I'm thinking is like, why do I need to deal with this? I'm already down here. I'm already in a place that I want to be, having to pay parking that I don't want to do, and I got to deal with this too. And whoever thought that, it's a good idea to not actually do anything about this, I don't understand that thought process, but that's a digression on my part. From there, he okay, so he said something's got to be done. All right. From there, he was asked about the current state of comic book industry, where he issued a stern warning to creators to think that if they stick to entertainment, you morons who make decisions. Stick to entertainment. Don't preach to me. Don't tell me which side of the coin I should be on politically. I don't care. I'm independent. Make me smile with entertainment. Yes. Most people they got enough problems. I just want to read about the adventures of Batman or Superman or Spider-Man or whoever. I don't need to have your personal politics inside the thing. And before anybody says that, when they were always being political, no, they had aspects of politics in them, but they were not overtly political. Everyone's viewpoint will go into whatever you're doing. You can't, it's kind of hard to not do that, but it's just, you have to be able to realize, and everyone quotes this from Michael Jordan, Republicans buy shoes too. You can't just write a thing that only appeals to a small part of the market and then you're shocked where you can't make any money, because whenever they do polls about which side of the fence people sit on, most people are independent or they're non-political. They're neither Republican nor Democrat. So you are trying to preach to a small portion of the population. Either side. Most people like this are like him, independent. Think both sides are crazy. You're not helping yourself by trying to pitch to one. Just tell a universal story, hero's journey, everyone, and as they used to do, not that difficult. Something that everybody can relate to. A little bit of Darren do, like a little bit of excitement, throw a little bit of humor in there. Fine. Like I said, everybody's humor is not the same, so they may not be able to get your humor, but enough people will, and then you actually sell the product. You know the biggest selling R-rated movie of all time, and everyone knows it is Wolverine and Deadpool because it was entertainment. It was mostly most funny. I see people on airplanes laughing out loud watching that movie. We return to stating how policies ruin recent films. Don't preach, entertain. The anger in me is there. It's palpable because the damage has been done to the industry. Damage has been terrible as the comic book industry has been declining in profits and sales in recent years because of the overabundance of politics driving casual reader away from superhero books and going over to manga. Now there are different types of manga. They have some that lean left, some that lean right, but it is a variety of types of stuff, and you can just go to whatever path you want and don't touch on any of the stuff because there's a variety. Comic books right now, there is no variety. It's all written by the same people who are pitching the same stories to the same folks, and that is a smaller and smaller and smaller part of the population, which everyone else is starting to feel like you got pushed aside. So like, all right, if you're not writing for me and you've told me that you're not writing for me, so why should I give you money? And causing all right, so called the comic book stores. Yeah, it's like that's another bad part of all of this is the comic book stores going out of like business. That is the kind of thing like as a kid you go to is all these different types of stories, the different types of comics and all this other stuff. It is a wide world of stuff, especially if you when you're a little boy. Like they got girls comic books for the most part. This stuff is for boys, and they've taken so much stuff away from boys that it's not even funny. All right, so when he relates to the industry, film says, I think the film industry 25, 30 years ago should have done this, and all those branded writers with premises month to month, or films or TV shows at least. If I own a studio, my hand to God, I would hire about 10 of those writers from the comic industry. I'd say, here are $1 million each. Give me a year's worth of your premises. I'll turn them into stories, TV shows, and films. Every comic book writer is a brilliant mind in that respect. Come on into film, and then they'd hire me to do storyboards for all of them comic creators or filmmakers. I don't care what anybody says. He concluded, reiterating his point, and stick with the entertainment and stop with the preaching. His fiery statement represents a lot of comic book fans. I'm saying year over year, saying over recent years, as Marvel and DC Comics don't seem to be able to get the message that people don't want extreme leftist identity politics shoved in their faces every time they open a book. It's insulting to the reader's intelligence and it causes a share of harm to comics. And also, the one of the guys who's in charge at Marvel, like, doesn't want Peter Parker to actually grow up. Doesn't want Peter Parker to be with Mary Jane. Not because the fans don't want it. He's doing it because he just doesn't want to do it. It's like the weirdest thing. They put out an alternative like another universe book where Mary Jane and Peter Parker are married with two kids, and it's outselling the regular Spider-Man. So it is quite clear that your fan base wants this. And just like with the politics and just that, it just they refuse to do it. You're in a business. You need to appeal to your customer base. Period. You don't get to dictate for the most part. You can, as long as you're doing the stuff that they kind of want, you can introduce new things, and maybe that will take that will hit. But you can't just do new things and not give people what they want. That's not how anything works, and people will just walk away, which is what they're doing. So I don't know. Hopefully, we'll eventually. You can kind of start to see like a ray of sunshine, like light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, okay. Yes, this is true. That is my friend there, Elton. This probably would have made an interesting conversation, but I guess he couldn't make it. So, on that note, I'm glad you watched, though. I hopefully by next week we'll start to get a bit more entertainment type stuff. If not, there should be always something interesting to talk about. So, on behalf of myself and my missing partners, please like, share, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I am out. So, oh, please, if you have anything to say about what I said, write it down in the comments. Because the way YouTube works, like you hear people say this kind of stuff all the time, but you gotta like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. The subscription, that would be nice, but you really need to like and share stuff in order for any channel to grow. It's kind of how it is. I'm trying my best to avoid becoming a reaction channel because apparently that's the only thing that YouTube seems to want right now. So every time I do a reaction to something, that gets a lot more views than me just talking about something that I find interesting. But I really don't want to just react to other people's stuff. So I'm gonna keep trying to do like my thing and see what happens. All right. So on that note, I'm out. Later.